Hello Gemini and welcome to the future. This is your reading for Monday, I think June 7th or 8th. I quite lost track over the weekend because these things happen. It's the weekend, but it's late Monday morning in beautiful Santa Monica in June in 2021. And we're drinking coffee and saying hi. The theme for today is power. This is a very exciting theme because who wants to admit that they want it, but we all kind of want it. We hide power exchanges in our lives all over the place, and sometimes just our naked quest for it for no other reason than just to have it dominates our lives without our knowing it. It's sure useful, but it sure is hard to use responsibly and hard to wield for the right reasons. Ego gets in the way. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Freudian sips. I like that the card has bull's horns on it. Maybe it's some other animal, but I perceive it as bull horns because, rage dominates our wielding of power all too often. When you get rid of the emotion from power, that's when it starts to get useful, unless it comes with, how to put it, if there's a good ethic behind it, stripping away the emotion works quite well, but let the ethic be grounded in a positive emotion. What about power? We appreciate power. Don't cry over that which you have lost. The Five of Cups. The fives are tough transition cards, but they're weak transition cards. I don't think of them as too dire consequences, but more like this is a trial that you'll have to pass through in order to understand and progress. And this is that I think that our power changes how we wield it in our lifetimes. When we begin, we wield power simply by being needed. And so if we cry out or we smile, then people spring to get us what we want when we're infants, and we learn different strategies for how to exert power over people, and most of the time we're not even aware that we're doing it, as a shifty eye or a hunch of the shoulder or a passive-aggressive barb are enough to get people to do what we want without our really knowing that we're doing it. Don't cry over the loss of old strategies. I strive to abandon the graceless strategies as I age, and I encourage you to do the same. Power. When you get a room full of people who have a little bit of power, then each of their opinions is hardened and magnified, because with power we have the ability to actually assert the opinions that we hold in private. It's one thing to watch the game and suggest what the quarterback might do differently. It's another thing entirely to be, say, a manager on the team and assert the same thing to the same person. And so one of the challenges that we face when mastering our passions with power is finding consensus among those who wield it. And right now I sense that recent power that has been asserted, recent edicts that may have been issued, are highly contentious, and that there are some who agree and some who disagree just as violently. And right now there's this sort of like cartoon cloud of smoke with fists and pow noises coming out of it as they come to a conclusion on how to best deal with this edict. Got deep real fast there. The Hermit. Of course, there's, with conflicting voices and the deployment of power, especially when it's impersonal, you've got to sort of live with the fact that you're going to be away from the discussion table, that things have been set into motion and now folks are going to talk about it. So there's the seclusion element to that. But I, as usual with the Hermit, focus on the guiding light. The Hermit holds a lamp high, and this is the hard-won knowledge that allows you to assert power with responsibility. Now, again, power itself is not a bad thing. It's just throwing around one's weight dumbly is kind of what gives it a bad reputation. So ensure that you've become a bit of a sage before you endeavor to receive it, let alone to play it. Ten of Cups seems like a kind of dull card to pop up during a power reading, but it reminds me of a couple of points. The first being the obvious symbolism in the card, to approach it at a gross level, which is to say, your happy family, kind of beautiful home, somewhere over the rainbow kind of business, which it reminds me that when you've got a lot of power, sometimes it's tough to step back and remind yourself that it's time to be a human now, and to take off the cowboy boots and stop solving the town's problems, but be present as an equal in a family or in a tribe. When we go home, we get to be among equals because we take off the collar or take off the hat or put down the gavel and be among those we love as a person akin to them. Boy, I was going to go in another direction with this, but this resonates strongly with me, so I'm sticking with this as the explanation for the card. The duality of roles right there. The edict is issued, the dust is settling off of the background. Go off and be a human, don't try and wear the crown too heavily on your head. Greatest enemy. That's the rub, because we all want to play, and we all want to be Peter Pan, and we all want to let life blissfully come to us. And while there are places for leaps of faith, with a little bit of power, you have to sort of project your leaps of faith into the future a little bit more. And don't just throw your weight around. Don't be willy-nilly. Don't be impulsive about the deployment of power, because power is what affects other people. It's great to be the fool for ourselves, but we can't apply the same judgment to others without their consent. That's what's behind power right there. Give it to people. Your greatest ally, though, is the Knight of Pentacles. Slow and steady progress. Perfect inverse analog to the Fool right there. Where inverse analog is not a thing. It is now, apparently. Steady work, patience, trust that these seeds that you planted are going to grow on their own, and you don't have to go off there and scrape the soil, and you certainly shouldn't wander off, though, so keep an eye on it from a distance, but continue the work. Thank you, Gemini. Behavioral economists suggest that I tell you to hit like and subscribe, so please hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Good day.